How's everyone doing today?
Awesome.
Okay. So today, UI has an idea for a boost. So what do you like to build? Actually, UI, would you like to go through it?
To create a boost that lets you specify a token and an amount of that token. And if the proposal passes, it will send all of that amount out to the members of the DAO proportional to their shares. So it's called a dividend boost because that's typically how a dividend system will work. So just kind of automatically doing the math and sending it out so you can quickly do a dividend dispersal to your DAO if you like.
Sweet. So I'm just going to help UI put this boost together today. So we'll go through kind of the steps just piece by piece. It sounds like we'll be interacting with the disperse contract, which to my recollection takes a token, token amount, and an array of addresses and an array of amounts, if I'm not mistaken. We can look at that in greater detail. The cool thing is we actually have the disperse boost on the DAOhaus already, so we can sort of like work backwards there and set things up. Or we could play around with the TX builder and if we want to do that as well.
Yeah, disperse seemed like a good candidate. Yesterday I walked through the Mint a Million tutorial and just did it for dividend. So I already have the form live. I'll show you what that looks like. Guess we can go to...
So we'll be focusing, I guess, more on the kind of the logic of the form, I guess, and
the logic, hooking it up
and
to...
then the transaction and the contract.
To the...
Okay.
Yeah. Oh, I'm on the live. Of course I don't see it.
I've done that more than a few times.
Okay, so just running... Let's restart. What? Ooh.
Other devs on the call, why does Bash do that? When I try to do some commands sometimes, and it just gives the bracket arrow thing, square brackets.
I've never seen that one. It might be specific to that app. I do that move a lot of times. I've never seen it, but I'm not in DAOhaus app very often, so.
So when when you're using the command line and you press up, and usually you get your previous commands. Sometimes I've noticed it just like gives you gibberish. Like it's just like a square, two angle brackets, or not angle, square brackets with like a letter inside of it. Yeah.
One of those mysteries.
I think that's usually when some other task is running on the command line.
What's that, sorry?
I think that usually happens when there is some other command running on the command line.
Okay.
A task, like.
Oh, so like if you have something on another command line running, and then it'll interfere with your previous command.
Like this command line will be, there's something running on it already. It's not like free to accept commands right now. That's what.
Very cool. Awesome. Cool. Thank you. That makes sense. Because it's probably like, okay, which one's the last one? If I have multiple things running right now. Okay. So we have our boost. Looks like we got a double column, which is interesting. But that works for me. I was wondering how deep we wanted to go here. Like, okay, so we got the basics, I think. Like, we got the necessities. So you got your minion. Nope.
Right.
Mind if I just take a peek at that form?
Sure.
We got our minion here. We got our token. We got a dividend amount. So we need a time to calculate to calculate the proportions, right? And we got a money minion. Here we're gonna test with. I hope we have other tokens besides XDAI. Do we have other tokens here? No. Okay.
This is a live DAO and Gnosis chain, by the way. So.
Okay. I would recommend let's get some like Yenis token or something. Because I don't know. I mean,
can we do this on Rinkeby with?
Well. Remember, you had surfaced earlier to me that there's problems with the Rinkeby minions, so
right.
I'm gonna say let's stay away from that. Otherwise, we're just gonna be debugging the minion problem the whole video. So,
do we need to be on Ethereum for Eunice, or can we get?
You can get it right on. I believe you can get it right on the Gnosis chain. Let me see if I. Yeah, so I guess what are the time turnaround? Like, what are the periods on this DAO?
A day.
A day? That's not a good test DAO.
No, I mean, we can make.
Okay, let's make here's probably a useful tutorial segment here. Let's make a test DAO.
Okay.
And anyone who wants to be in the test DAO, let's send our addresses to where do we do our addresses for this? It's a house party chat.
Yeah. There's the chat like in the very top right corner of this.
Okay, let's do that. Yeah, if anyone wants to be in the test DAO today, just send your address here. Amos, maybe would you be able to look after the addresses? I'm going to go find the Yenis token and help UI get set up here. So let's not go for 1 second. Otherwise, it won't give you any time to vote. Oh, okay, you're doing the periods are 1 second. Why don't we do 60 seconds per period?
Mm-hmm.
And so if you go back up to seconds. Well, instead of doing 60 periods,
comes out the same, doesn't it?
I don't think so, because that means there's all the other periods that will be a little wonky. And I do 2 minutes for voting periods, because so there's any overlap or any problems with, just in case there's any overlap or problems. Sometimes I notice if I make the periods too small, it will get confused, or I'll miss that window between like voting and grace period, which is, not convenient.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, let me jam an address in here. I guess it's just me, eh? No one's getting in on the good times. Oh, okay. We're in the Fish live coding session. Like if you just go click on the voice chat, there's a little chat window there. Yeah. Okay. So let me just see if we have a Yenis token XDAI.
I'm going to give us different share amounts so that...
Yeah, that's good. So it looks like
I'll try to have...
What is Deacon testing with? Because I've tested on XDAI before. Deacon gave me... Oh, it's trash token. There we go. I think that's probably just Deacon's own token. Okay. So there is no Eunice token on Gnosis chain, so I gotta look around and see if, and I can't find the address for the old trash token. We could just work with like microscopic amounts of XDAI if that's if you want to do that.
Yeah, we can. I have some dye. I have some house.
Yeah, we'll just send it
we
back.
could use spice if we.
Oh yeah, totally. That's a basically like a
Yeah.
test token, right?
Pretty much, yeah.
Do you have the address for that?
Can I get it from here? Cause.
No, because it doesn't cache it. So, oh, there you go. Account spice. There we go. Sometimes I find like it deletes my token data once every like month. Is that just me?
That looks like mine.
Yep. There you go. Spice. We're gonna go to the. Yep. There you go. Look at that. Total supply only 300,000. My God.
Okay.
How much do you have? I guess just put a good chunk into the DAO.
I have a 90 right here.
Okay.
And there's another DAO with more, but I don't know. Probably don't want to take too long.
No, yeah, we'll just test with that.
Okay. So back. Where am I? So that goes here. Primary token contract address.
Yep.
Okay.
Okay, so we got 1 minute. No, let's do 2 minute voting periods, and yeah, and then we'll do one for the grace period.
We got one more. We gotta get Santiago in here. Give you. I made these add up to 100 so that we can kind of test. I mean, might be better to make it oddball numbers so that we can test weird floats and stuff. But
yeah, that's probably helpful. That's probably what people will
wonder.
result. Yeah.
Um,
What is a good way to handle that with floats? I mean, it's easy when the shares are like 23 and stuff, but
if I made it add up to a prime number, that might be.
yeah.
So that's 101. It's prime, right?
Yeah, that might be a good little JavaScript refresher, how to deal with their horrible float system.
Yeah. Okay, so you want 2 and 2 here?
I would do 2 for vote and 1 for grace period, but you can do 2 as well for grace.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, look good?
Yep.
Wonder how much dye I've actually spent on all these little transactions.
Probably like a cent.
1 penny. Okay. So, we call this.
Call it Spice Supreme. I don't know. Sorry.
Spice Supreme Dividend Rewards.
Do you want to shy away from the term dividend? Perhaps legal implications of dividends have some other connotations as well.
Should we call this
besides
something?
just like proportional, like
proportional distribution lords?
Yeah, they're the lords of proportional distribution.
Okay.
That's funny. Description being, we are the lords. I find this a good template for test DAOs in general. It's just seems to be the sweet spot. Oh, I don't know what happened here. Name. We already did this, right?
Yeah, I just signed the transaction.
Yeah, that's a good idea. Nothing, eh? Hard refresh.
Hmm.
Do I do an empty cache refresh?
Yeah, I might need to switch to Chrome browser. I don't remember how to do it in Firefox.
You should just try right-clicking that refresh icon. I don't know if that works in
Yeah.
Firefox, but that's a good start.
That's how it is in
No, I
Chrome.
fixed it. Ah, damn. Okay.
I can pop up.
Let me just Google that. Hard refresh Firefox. Look at us noobs. Control-Shift-R.
Command Shift.
There we go. The strange thing is that you should at least be getting an unregistered DAO. Let's fill that form out and see what happens there.
It's gone. Do I have to do it again?
What's gone?
Oh,
your form? Oh, your
yeah,
form's gone?
I clicked back and it came to here.
Okay, we're rocking. Good start. Oh, I doubt it's gonna have the reference anymore. Let's try. Let's give it a go. Spice Supreme Proportion. I love that name. I think it okay.
Yeah, that's what happened last time.
Have we been seeing this bug anywhere else in V2? Like, is this?
Oh, I'm on localhost.
Yeah.
So maybe my Infura stuff. I don't know if I've got that right.
Should be fine. I summon DAOs on localhost all the time.
Yeah, but isn't there some configuration with
Oh, yeah, but that'll even come from his MetaMask as well. But yeah, you would want that. Make sure that was configured well. Just in general, maybe that is that could yeah, maybe that causes problems elsewhere. Okay, I actually have a good way to deal with this. Go to that summon Moloch transaction in your MetaMask there. Because we did summon a Moloch. Do you want to hit that transaction? We're going to go to View on Block Explorer. We're going to find the Moloch that is summoned. This might be challenging to do with Block Scout, but it's possible. Let's see here. Okay, so result block timestamp from interacted with the factory. Yeah, that's the factory. You could probably look at the factory and see what Molochs it created recently if we wanted to go that way. I think the data too you can look at and it'll show you the output. Okay, so 6 minutes ago, that looks like us. Let's take a look at this transaction here. Actually, yeah, I would go back to our old. Just go back. Let's go down. Yeah. Okay, here we go. Summoner. It creates an event, right? So you should be able to get the address from the summoner here. Approved token, summoners, proposal deposit. Let's head down here.
Weird. My address is not in here.
Maybe we forgot.
No, I put it in. There were 5. But it didn't include me.
And thus there were 4.
It's strange.
Want to head down a little bit? Logs. Can't get the Moloch transaction from the Moloch address from the transaction? Sure you can.
Is this it?
Is that the Moloch right there? Yeah. Let's click that. The first thing. Maybe not. Address details. It should show like code, all that stuff. Moloch, it's different than the summoner, right? Click that.
This?
No, the Moloch address there. I can't really see the resolution's a little.
Yeah, that's what I just opened.
Okay. 0x80. I wonder, like, if I usually look at a Moloch thing on XDAI, it works. That's strange. Okay, let's copy that address.
We could look at another DAO and see if this.
I'm like nearly sure that you usually get the contract view when you look at a Moloch address, but we can plug it right into DAOhaus and see what the DAO looks like. It might just crash, but so if you go to like a DAO view, any old DAO view in Gnosis chain, see in the URL, yeah, exactly. You just want to switch that. So some of it's working. We got the right amount of shares, the right amount of members. Our metadata, of course, isn't showing up.
It's so weird. It didn't include me.
It's weird. I think
Because I had to add up to 101. Maybe I had the delimiter wrong for that
Probably.
one.
Okay, so let's see if we can. I guess you won't be able to edit the metadata anyways because you're not a member. Man, what a. Okay, let's do this again.
Where's the. How about I do it on over here. DAOhaus. Okay, so some spice.
Let's do this and XDAI. Maybe that's what caused some stuff to break. I don't know.
Give it
I
both.
doubt it.
Is this
It's still
XDAI?
it's in ERC20. It should work. Oh boy.
So it wants just one? Oh wait.
Yeah.
You can whitelist more than one here as well.
Yeah.
What about
But I would just delete everything and paste your
just spice?
address back in. Yeah. Or have XDAI if you want as well, but wrapped XDAI.
Is that what this is? The default?
Yeah.
We can just do one to keep it simple, but okay, boy. Alright, so we got Santiago, give him 10. Amos, give him 20. Me. $30. Brian 40 Jord.
It's getting a call.
Muted. Okay. So that it's
Hey, MKK, we're getting a bit of noise from you. Would you mind muting?
Oh, that was I muted, but it was just local, I guess. $151. Okay, so it's a nice odd number.
Hey, MKK, you're making some noise. Do you mind muting?
Is it still going? I muted, but I guess it's just local.
Yeah, I think I did the same thing.
How do we boot him? Somebody.
Oh, okay, looks like Amos got it.
I have a lot of editing for this video.
Oh my god. Yeah.
Okay, so does this look good? Just spice.
60 seconds.
It would be cool to try with house and what does this actually do?
Those are so you don't have to go through the process of whitelisting tokens manually.
Okay.
You can just edit a list and.
Let's put house and die in there then too.
Okay.
How do I do that?
I would say let's just rock. Like it's not a.
Well, let's
Like
get...
you go to your assets and you find the thing down here. You go to house, and then you go to the little more thing and you go to view asset and explore.
All right, let's add house.
Yeah. Okay.
Maybe we can do a house distro. We have some bounty funds, so people who are here can actually have some house.
Sweet.
Okay, so where are we at? Okay, so that is separated by a comma and a space. The first one will be the primary token. Okay, that's fine. Spice can be the primary token. Alright, and I am in this list. I'll witness. Okay, we good?
Yep.
Only whole share amounts are allowed.
The summoner form's brutal. Yeah, just delete that last space there. Yeah. At the very least, it tells you how many things you have, how many members and stuff, so you can see that it's actually working. All right, let's configure this. Oh, there we go. Okay. I wonder what happened in the last one.
Yeah, my guess is that something with localhost. Okay.
Maybe.
So then I guess I should create a minion also.
Let's just see if Spice got whitelisted properly. It will. I just wanted to see like what kind of metadata we get in for it. Oh yeah, cool. So we get everything in. Nice. And so you're gonna want to send some spice directly to the DAO.
Okay. I should send it to the treasury, not a minion?
Actually, yeah, but we'll need it in the minion eventually. But yeah, for now it's fine.
We're gonna need a minion, so.
Yeah, fair enough.
Okay, and this address is the Gnosis safe address?
Let's just go into the thing. I haven't used V2 in forever. Yeah.
This would
Yeah,
be the safe.
that's the one you want to send funds to.
Okay.
I remember it taking a while for the funds to sort of update, so.
Yeah, get it
So,
started
yeah, let's-
and then go into the code.
Yeah.
Have all my spice. Okay. So let's make sure that works before I send house, which is actually valuable. Okay. So while that's processing, shall we do the next thing?
Yeah, so what? Let's just make sure we can get those funds into registered in the DAO in the minion, and then we'll need I guess one of those minion inputs that shows the funds in a minion, and that's select a token. So what input are you using there?
Well, I know that it works because it works.
Okay, it is definitely possible that just the token hasn't really registered in the minion yet because it takes a bit of time.
Mm-hmm.
And you can do the manual refresh too in the vault view.
Manual refresh in the vault view. Okay.
So this input you're saying beforehand was loading tokens from the minion, no problem.
Right. If I
Okay.
opened a different DAO, it would show.
Sweet. Okay.
Yeah. So this minion
It's just not getting what is happening is, so behind the scenes there's some back-end processes that we use to calculate price of tokens, and just like across all of the DAOs and all the minions, pretty tricky task. And so this was, I don't know, I don't know like the exact works of it, but that's what it's doing. And so it runs a job every, I think it's like 15 minutes or so. I find it only takes about 2 minutes usually. What that refresh button does is I think it calls the consumer of that job, if I'm not mistaken.
So we could build the thing out and test
Sure.
with other
Yeah.
DAOs until we're ready to do the actual.
Yep. Sounds good.
So I'll switch over to the. It did it earlier. Like I know I had that. It showed XDAI right there.
I saw that too. When
It's on localhost though. Maybe I was looking.
So this stuff comes from the graph. So your like where you're trying to access it from shouldn't be dependent on whether or not you have like an RPC endpoint.
I can't even see dev here, so.
Because you're on app.DAOhaus.
Yeah.
Yeah, so the dev playlist is for local hosts only.
Right. Yeah, well, it's strange that I saw it then. Because nothing.
Okay. So it is strange that we saw it because I remember there was something that populated this thing. So it is definitely looking at the selected minion. We're in a different. Which DAO are we in?
This is DevRel DAO.
Okay, and Money Minion does have tokens.
Yes.
Okay. Let's take a look at the vault view to debug whether or not that's coming in there.
Oh wait, I think it's actually possible that our proposal just passed because it was like in the. It was in the process of going out, but I think. Yeah, it just passed and executed. 12 minutes ago. So that's what happened. So I don't. There's another DAO.
I could send some funds over right now, or do you want to send it to the other DAO?
Yeah, just actually let's take a look at our minion on the other DAO. It should.
Yeah.
Yeah, it should be there. Let's go refresh in the vault page.
Okay. On localhost, Spice Supreme, vaults.
Hit that refresh button. Okay, give it a sec. There
we go.
Let's head over to that form. I'm hoping that, like, by the time we get around to
Nice.
V3, the same pains with like token data availability will not persist.
Yeah.
Okay, let's dividend amount. Okay, so basically what we're doing here is we're typing in an amount and then it's just going to proportionally show it won't. The thing is that bugs me a little bit about this form is that like I don't have any indication that it's working or anything's happening, right? I don't know if we'll be able to get it today. What would be optimal is there's a little button. Another shitty thing is we do everything with modals. I would say like we could pop open a modal and show a table of all the disperse amounts and stuff like that and all the members. But if we don't have design space to do that, then I think what we should do is just work on getting it to work. So what we're going to do is, I guess on every single keystroke, it's going to calculate the amounts. So what we want to do, you have a dividend amount field right now.
Mm-hmm.
Is this just is this a custom field that's in the, let's take a look at the form.
Yeah, this is a diff view. Let me. Where's the source data? Form Legos. Dividend forms.
Perfect. So this field isn't going to work for us because we got to do something custom, right?
Okay.
So let's comment that out, or maybe we can keep it. Like we'll just, instead of that, we're going to go to what do we want to call this new field, this custom thing? Basically, it's going to proportion. Dividend was a nice, handy name, but
Can we not say dividend for fear of our?
I think there's yeah, because it makes it sound like it's kind of something like we're issuing crypto dividends, which I don't really think we are. In this case, we're just proportionally dispersing. Let's just call it proportion input for now. Shitty name. We'll think of a better one.
So, how about distribution?
Perfect. And distro input is type.
Distro could be cool.
Nice.
Handle for
Spec
it.
type number. Numbers right. Okay, cool. So what we're going to do is then you're going to go to input factory. Actually, first you're going to go into the the components bin or file folder, and you're going to make a component called distro input. RAFCE tab. Nice, make sure it's capitalized. The function, sorry. Make sure your export is also capitalized. Nice. Okay, so then we're going to go into input factory.
What's the hotkey to jump to files?
Control P. Scroll down to the bottom. If type equals distro input. I'm paranoid. I like to even copy and paste directly from the Lego. Nope. Sorry. The one you'll be, the type there. That's what it's using to reference. So we want to make sure that we, yep. And we're going to render distro input. And we're just going to make sure that's imported. So you're just going to, what I like to do instead of typing my imports out, we're going to go to the T. I just go to the end of the string, essentially. T. Delete it. Type T again. Or just go down. Yep, there you go. Just hit tab. Auto import. Lovely.
Nice.
Save. Nice. We're going to go...
So
and we're just going to look at our form and make sure it renders. So what it should show some text that says distro input. So if we go into the UI, close that. Yeah, you got it. There we go. Oh, yep, perfect.
Cool.
Cool. So what we're going to do is we're going to I don't know if I can do the top of my head, but let's try. We're gonna get, so we're gonna get a wrapped input component. So again, just get the,
Like go to another file?
oh, sorry, I guess we call it different in V2, generic input. No, we're not going to go to the generic input. We're just going to import the generic input into this. So what we're going to do is we're going to wrap the generic. I'll give you an overview here. So we're going to wrap a generic input with our functionality that changes on type. So what we're going to do is we're going to highlight all that, get rid of it. We're going to import that generic input.
Just return.
But as JSX. So it's going to have those angle brackets.
Yeah, I don't know what we're doing right now.
That's okay. So what you're doing is you're making a React component. And you are wrapping this React component. So just the same way that you have distro input there, you want generic input. So generic input is just like a regular old input that renders when you render an input. So what we're going to do is whenever it makes a distro input, it's going to render the regular old input.
Do we have props for it? Or
Yep, there you go. You're going to spread the props. Now you have to get the props from the component props. So you're going to go into your function or your function parameters there in distro input. See the parentheses on distro input? Distro input equals, so make a object. Actually, no, sorry, don't make an object. That's okay. Just do your props. Lovely. Nope. I can't see. Is that giving you a squiggle line underneath?
Yeah, it says...
Oh, it just wants to get rid of the angle brackets. Okay, no problem. You can just save. It'll probably do it by itself.
Yeah.
There you go. Okay, so what we're doing, do you kind of get what's going on here?
Yeah.
Okay.
So distro input is basically equivalent to generic input now.
Yeah, it's just wrapping it. And we're gonna jam a bunch of functionality inside this wrapper, and then it's going to present it out through the input.
But we should see generic input now.
Yep. Try typing in it, see if it breaks. Lovely. So what we want to do is we want to get the value. What do we need here? We need the members, right? We need the dividend amount, which comes from the input. We need, that's pretty much it, right? We need their shares. And I think that comes on the members object if I'm remembering correctly here. Okay, so members come from a hook called useDAO. Good news is that we don't have to worry about scoping or getting problems from context, because I don't think the form builder will work outside of the DAO context. So let's just go const and then curly braces, and then just get out of the curly braces for a second, go equals useDAO. There we go, got the import there, and then your parenthesis to invoke the function, or the hook in this case, and then you want to go back and go to DAO, to the curly braces, DAO members. Nice. What we're going to do is get some stuff from use hook form. I think it comes from local form in V2, so we're going to go down to const. We're going to make a new constant, sorry. Destructure. Local form.
That's the function?
No, sorry. We're going to destructure local form from props. And I think we're actually going to nest some destructuring here. So back when we go to local form, I think it's a colon and then more after local form inside the curly braces. Colon, curly braces, watch inside those curly braces. Save. Lovely. So, okay, so bit of explanation here. Local form is an instance. Do you know React hook form?
Mm-hmm.
React hook form, to everyone watching, is just the library that we use to just simplify a lot of the form kind of stuff under the hood. And so what you did essentially was you destructured the local form instance that's passed into every single component, and we are extracting this method called watch. So what we're going to do is we're going to watch the input or the ID of this. So we're going to also pull from props the name of the input. Not inside the local form, but we're going to destructure. Yeah, you got it. Lovely. Okay, so we're going to do const.
New one?
Yep. Declare a new constant. We what are we going to call this? We're going to call this token amount, is it? Yeah, token amount equals watch, parentheses, and then put name in there. So would you be able to tell me sort of what we're doing at this point?
Yeah, we're pulling the name and watch variables out of props. Watch is inside local form. And then, so apparently watch is a function.
Yep.
And then name is, I guess, a field on props.
Yeah, so when you look at your form Lego.
Watch. Yeah, I just don't know what the function is.
Yeah, so watch basically, it's a way of accessing the value that comes from your form. So let's look at the Lego, I guess. Where you describe the form. So it's going to pull the name value here. So distro amount name. So why didn't we just put the hard-coded distro amount name inside the component? The reason is just that we want to be able to use this thing no matter what the name is, and we want it just to watch basically just that, right? So what it's going to do is it's going to watch is going to go into the values that are stored in React hook form for the current form that we're using. And it's going to look up inside that values object what what value does this name have inside that values object. Does that make sense?
What value does this name have?
So inside of React hook form, there's a big object, and that has all the values of your form. And every property on that object, in that values object, has a property name of the field that exists on the form. Like when you're looking at log values in your form, you've used that, right? That's the object I'm talking about.
So so watch is it just gonna kind of keep this corresponding with the value of name?
Exactly. So when so basically every single time state changes on the form, it's going to render this input, right? And every single time it renders this input, it's going to declare a new constant called token amount, and it's going to call the function watch. It's going to go into React hook form, pull out any value that has the same name as the name that you put in the parameters there, and it's going to assign it to token amount.
Okay. And it's going to be triggered by the change of name, so it's basically, or any change on the form, but if name change, that would trigger it too, and then token amount will stay corresponding with whatever is in that field.
Yeah, it'll keep it live. And yeah, to answer your question, Brian, yeah, watch is a direct utility from React Hook Form. So in V2, what we did is to kind of spread the access of all the React Hook Form components to all the fields. We added this thing called local form, and just pass that in directly to the input factory. And the input factory will pass that instance of local form to every single field in the form, so that every individual field has access to React Hook Forms utilities, which allows you to like register new values, watch values, just do basically whatever you need to do. It adds all that functionality of React Hook Form into each input, essentially. V3, we use the context, but this one, we pass it all down directly through props.
Cool.
So we're going to make a use effect. Yeah, and then a callback function inside there.
Like
you got it. Perfect. Yeah. And what we're going to do is just hit enter. I don't know why I like to hit enter there, but it's just satisfying. You know, it's you're going to go after that callback, and you're going to do a comma. Before I like to get the depths array done first. I don't know why, but yeah. So an array, very perfect, and you're going to put token amount in there. Excellent. So what this does is it tells useEffect, hey, like we want to render first on mount, and then whenever token amount changes. So it basically every time this component renders, useEffect is going to go, hey, okay, I got token amount here. Is it the same as the last token amount? No? Okay, we're going to run whatever is in this callback function. You get what I'm saying?
Can you say it one more time?
So you got in this useEffect, right? This useEffect is a function. That's all it is. And what it's going to do is, on the left side, it's got a callback function, and on the right side, it's got a dependency array. Okay, so what it's going to do is when useEffect gets called, remember it's just a function, so it's going to get called on every single render. It's going to look at the dependency array, and it's going to look at token amount, and it's going to say, is token amount the same or different than the last time we ran useEffect? And if it is different, then we're going to run this callback function that you had entered on the left side there, or as the first argument. That makes sense?
Yeah.
Sweet. So what we're going to do is go inside that callback function, inside the curly braces, and we're going to console log token amount, just so we can see it working. Amazing. So yeah, let's go to here, refresh, get that console. There it is. Cool. So now we have a function that runs every single time distro amount changes. And you can see why that might be useful, right?
Yeah.
What we're going to want to do is calculate the distro amount now, every single time that token amount changes. So it may not be the most efficient way of doing it. And I think what we could do in the future is make a select. And what the select does is it's like, actually, no, I think this is probably the right way to go. Like the select would be good if we wanted to add more functionality of like, hey, you want to distribute based off of shares or loot, or shares and loot, you know? But right now, I think just getting it set up for shares is probably pretty sweet.
Yeah.
So you had pre-cooked some logic before this, right? For just getting your proportional shares?
Yeah, nothing
Okay.
too impressive, but I can pull it
Let's
in.
take a look. Oh, we're going to put it right in that use effect. Okay, what do we got going on here? So we are declaring a variable. So we don't need to bring in the hard-coded data, I think.
Well, just to get rid of the lines, but we can delete it in a sec.
Sure, okay. Actually, we could even test with the hard-coded if we want, and before we start getting DAO members out. So let's share map. So we got our little test data there. Let total shares equals share map, reduce, and then we are adding them all together into that. So, okay, perfect. Nice little, and then we have a dividend. That's the like test amount, I take it, like hard-coded.
Yep.
And then you are doing a map, and you are declaring an object and inside the callback function. You are assigning to the object an address, and you are assigning to the so e.shares is your member.
Yeah.
Or like the okay.
So address is the same, right?
Right.
And then dividend is a property on this new object that equals the shares divided by the total shares. So this is a percent, like your percentage of the total times the
dividend. Okay.
So you end up with an array just like this, except it would be like dividend and then the value that should be sent to the person.
Right. So I can tell you one thing right away, just with the disperse contract that you're going to run into. I think someone correct me if I'm wrong, but the disperse contract, I believe, takes two arrays. One for your array of members, and then one for your array of, or in this case, array of addresses and array of amounts. Right? Let's take a look at that. Let's go into our older disperse contracts and see how that works.
Okay.
Or we could even see our target disperse and in transaction builder. There's a lot of things.
Where should I start? I know
I guess maybe for usefulness, just because someone else watching this maybe watching a video may try to do this, but they don't have a disperse thing easily available on the app, or like they don't have the equivalent logic already on the app. Let's use the TX builder to get a good glimpse of that. It's anytime you're wondering what we should pass, you can either look at the ABI, which is really nice. You can look at I like the transaction builder just because it's just nice graphical interface for just like visualizing kind of like what my inputs are going to look like. But you can also look at the ABI.
Okay, so you're talking about the disperse contract, like finding that?
So what we're going to do is we should go into maybe change.js and get the address for the disperse contract.
And it has them on all the different...
Exactly, so we want the gnosis. There we go. Disperse app. Interesting.
Maybe I'll... Polygon, Arbitrum...
I think it's up more.
Probably already passed it. Polygon, Gnosis.
There you go.
Disperse that.
Lovely. So we're going to pull that from here. We're going to use that transaction builder just to get a nice little visual representation.
What's transaction builder?
Yep.
Where? That's...
Oh, so that's in the app. right? If we go to the like live app, and if you go to forms, we'll exit here. We're gonna go to proposals, or you can just preview it here somewhere, I think. It'll be in your minion playlist. Do we not have a minion playlist? Are we not doing minion playlists now from whenever you summon a minion? Did you guys edit your stuff? Okay, let's go to proposals. Let's just see if it's there.
It's possible that it's not added to this DAO.
Possible. Oh, maybe did you just summon and didn't do the playlist after?
What DAO are we even in right now?
We should be in the... Oh, okay. That's okay. Let's go to the most recent one that we did. Yeah, Supreme Spice Lords. Oh, just go back. Okay, so I guess we're not giving people the playlist after they summon the minion anymore?
Yeah, I think you have to add it. Where is that?
Okay, let's go to the boosts.
It's in boosts.
Mm-hmm. Minions.
Market.
Okay, we'll go get the boosts then.
Which one?
DevTools. Minion Dev Suite. Oh, no, sorry. A Minion Dev Suite safe minion. Okay, Santiago, is Santiago still here? No. Are we still using this? Who knows? I think maybe that's probably what happened Are we still... Which playlist are we giving people when they summon a minion? Are we supposed to be using V4 now? Or V3?
We're supposed to.
The V3.
Whichever one. Yeah, two.
Okay. There you go. Safe minion transaction builder. All right. So yeah, just any arbitrary title. Yeah. All you gotta do is choose your minion. Lovely. Get that in there. Disperse token. Perfect. So we have here is our arguments. The token, so we're going to choose which token we're using, right, which you have already. And then we need an array of recipients and an array of values. So this is what we're going to have to input to the form values in order to get access to it in the transaction.
Mm-hmm. So we need to break it into two arrays.
You got it. So I think the good first step here is let's get our member address.
Member address. Okay, so...
You have two options here. Yeah, our member addresses. Let's just console log DAO members inside the use effect and make sure we got the right stuff. And because it's in the use effect now, we're going to add it to the dependency array.
To here.
Yeah. Not that it's really likely that DAO members is going to change on us, but just in case.
Okay.
Got an array there? Is that what I'm seeing?
Yep, with 5 in
Cool.
it.
So there we go. We got our array of...
Nice. So delegate key and shares. Oh, that's interesting because you can delegate your voting to somebody else, huh?
Right.
Okay. So
What I would do,
I don't have this
because I'm
to remember.
well, I wouldn't go by delegate key.
No?
No, I think it's a field called member address.
Oh, there's more here. Right, because
Yeah.
Right, because we don't want to send it to the delegate.
Yeah.
So be member address. You have some trick for replacing everything with the same.
Oh,
Basically
you mean
like
if you like same name?
Yeah, like a quick find and replace, basically.
Yeah, Control D. Just highlight what you want to replace, and just kind of spam Control D, or I guess Command D in your situation. Like you're clicking things, but I don't think you need to do that. Control D.
Do
Command D, Apple.
Yeah, I mean that's what I'm hitting, but
Okay, yeah. Once you do it,
okay.
just get them all selected, and then I do an arrow over just so it I know. Yeah. Oh, okay, it's a little different. I don't. Command D. Yeah, so you got 2 of them selected now. You want all of them selected. Yeah. There you go. Backspace.
Oh, the little flashing. Okay.
Yeah. Member address.
Nice.
There you go.
It's a neat trick.
Yeah, it's pretty handy. So I would say we're not really operating now with the sample data, right? Actually, if it's useful to you to keep using it, then
it's more
let's
just
keep at it.
noting the property name, but
Right.
and then,
What I would do is start plugging in some of these DAO member things. I would get your total shares.
there's total shares. You can,
Oh yeah, we have it right on Moloch there, eh?
you can pull it off.
That's
with
handy.
The member, any member.
Does that seem right?
Well, yeah, I think so.
I didn't know we had that
It's got 51, 40,
that makes it pretty easy.
30, 20, 10, so that'd be 70, 90, 100, 51. Yep.
Lovely.
So shares and then Moloch dot total shares.
Yeah, so that's your total shares there. And so instead of doing that map reduce, you just get the, I guess maybe the first member.
Yeah.
Yeah, you'll blow it up because there is no .moloch total shares on your sample data, right? I would go to, I would start working with your DAO members now.
Mm-hmm.
We don't need that share map anymore. And here's a bit of a challenge too. DAO members may not always be defined, right? We're pulling this stuff in asynchronously from the graph. So we don't want it to crash every single time that someone opens this and the DAO members hasn't loaded yet. So what we're going to do is we're going to optionally chain. Do you know about optional chaining in JavaScript?
No.
So you know there's a really common bug in JavaScript and everyone loves it. It's basically cannot find whatever of undefined.
Is it double question mark? Is that what you're talking
That
about?
is nullish coalescing. No, that's a little different. That I think works in. I have to read up on that, but basically we're going to use DAO members.
Dot question mark thing.
Yeah. So after DAO members. It's the other way around, yeah. But just go to the one that you already have, the DAO members. See, you're after total shares equals DAO members.
before the array? Or?
Yeah. So it's what you're doing is sort of like an object access with that array, right? So it's the same thing. There you go. Perfect. And then let's even optionally chain after the array as well. Everything. We're going to optionally chain everything. All right. What this does is it will, instead of crashing the software, which we don't want, it's going to return undefined. And we don't necessarily want it to return undefined either, right? So what we're going to do is do a short-circuiting like pipe operator, or like an OR operand after the total shares there. Perfect. And then we're going to give it some sort of default value, which in this case should just be 0. Now, it might be more handy for us to keep it undefined. Say we want to do, like a nullish sort of test. But for now, we'll just do 0, because 0 is also falsy. Yeah.
So if any of these are undefined or null,
it's just going to go through that whole chain. And at any point, if any of those are undefined, if it returns an undefined value, then it's going to say, okay, undefined or 0. So let's give it 0.
That's so handy.
Yeah.
I come from the old days of JavaScript where we just waded through hell all the time.
Yeah, that really sounds like it. I don't even know if optional chaining is like technically a full feature of like a fully endorsed feature of JavaScript. I remember like when I first started using it, it was in the stage 3 of the process.
Yeah.
I think it probably now it is, because it just gets used everywhere, right? It's so useful.
Yeah, this thing, I was like using that kind of deal. Because with OR, there's a weird thing where if this were to resolve to 0 or a blank space or something, then there's a chance that OR would consider it false.
Right.
And then...
Oh, so you are using the nullish coalescing then? Yeah, use nullish coalescing. So what's going on here? I mean, we can get in the weeds with JavaScript. I think Mad Max is our only like non-bot
right, we lost
viewer
him.
here. I'm sure maybe he doesn't. If he's stuck around this long, he doesn't mind a bit of JavaScript deep dives. So what nullish coalescing does is it detects whether or not it's nullish, meaning undefined or null, versus the pipe operand, or the OR operand, being that is detecting whether or not it's falsy. So null is falsy, 0 is falsy. I think nan is also falsy, like not a number. Yeah. So if you want to be a little bit more specific here, you can use the nullish coalescing. I think I rarely use this, so I might be a little off in my thinking, but I at least know what like nullish is, right? Like if you wanted to test for if something's nullish. It's almost the same as writing a ternary, like DAO members, all that stuff. Bang equals null. And if you do that sort of, that really crappy comparison instead of the strict comparison, if you do the crappy comparison with null, then it'll check if it's undefined or null.
Yeah, when I read this, basically the way that I compressed it in my brain is that it's just like OR, except it catches a couple of the edge cases where this could be falsy when you're not thinking of it as falsy, like with a blank space or a 0.
Yeah, blank space too. Blank space is the worst.
Right.
Yeah.
So like if total shares somehow were blank, I mean, like we might not want it to. Anyway, I don't know. I guess I was just trying to refresh myself and practice these new constructs.
Yeah, that's cool. I'm all for that. I think that's great. Okay, so we got our total shares. Nice. I'm a little like weirded out by trying to destructure the first element in an array. It's just something I generally don't do, but I think for this situation it's fine. So what we want to do now is we want an array of members and an array of amounts. Now, I'm going to do something, I would recommend something here that's a little inefficient, sorry. But it's just like easy to read and easy to implement. And I think those always trump performance, at least while you're sort of mocking something out. If you find that you have performance problems later, then you can make it a more efficient implementation. So I'm going to do const member addresses. And then you're just going to map over the DAO members and return just the member addresses.
Is there an even shorter shorthand for this? Yeah, let's not go there.
There is, so you don't have to use the curly braces. Some people
just write it directly, e dot whatever the name is.
Yeah, like you're
didn't
saying like
catch
the
that.
implicit return there, Mad Max?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like if I just
Yeah, so JavaScript has with the arrow function has an implicit return. So you can just get rid of that curly brace and the return.
I see.
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought there was something like that.
So there you go. Let's just double check that doesn't break. You're gonna want to do some optional chaining there after DAO members too, just to make sure. We do have downtime with the graph and stuff, so. Joys of JavaScript.
Where we at? It doesn't work, does it?
Yeah, just there you go. Just put a number in. Nice. We have a lot of arrays. So there's your second array with all the addresses.
Nice.
Okay, so that's argument. That's one argument that we need. The next one we're going to do is, like I said, this is not the most efficient way. We're going to be running 2 array maps per keystroke, which not really ideal, but it's like I don't think we'll get perf problems from it. So let's try that out. We're going to do token amounts. Or proportions or whatever. And then what we're going to do is we're going to basically plug in that rs.dividend kind of thing that you had going on there. So we're going to get let's look at the data structure of the member and see what field we're saving the share data on. And we're going to try to calculate that on the fly, essentially.
This?
Yep, and I can see one potential hiccup here. We keep it as a string. Kind of a challenge with the graph. I think a lot of the values come back as a string. At least our graph. So we're going to do... Yep, and then I would wrap that. I would call number on it.
Is it just like that?
I think it's a capital, if I'm not mistaken.
Sounds like a...
Yeah. And then you're going to do your math there.
Okay, so shares over total shares, and we plucked the total shares already.
Interesting. So what happens, will we blow up if we try dividing by 0?
Typically, yes.
Okay, so maybe let's make sure our default is 1.
Hmm.
I think it would probably just return nan, but all right. So shares, total shares, and then times your dividend. Let's get rid of that dividend variable, and we're going to change that to the token amount that comes in through the, yeah.
Okay, so going through.
Comment out your little formula there at the bottom. But make sure you're not commenting at the dependency array and all that.
Did I put this?
Yeah, it should be in there.
That's the, okay. I was like, are those default on my map? No.
So one rule with use effects is any variable that you're going to be grabbing outside of the use effect, make sure it's included inside the dependency array. Any other React app, like we have ours turned off, which I think was a really bad decision. But there's usually linting that will tell you, hey, get that variable inside the dependency array, because it'll create the worst kind of bugs if you are not aware of that. And are those the amounts?
Yep. They look wrong.
Yeah. Okay.
Let's see.
Another thing is,
51. So the first one is, so 0 is 51, the total is 151, so you'd expect this to be about a third of whatever is in here, and they're all really big, so what's going on?
I wanted to
Is this
ask
a
one
string?
thing.
of course.
Where we like doing the map to twice, once for member addresses and token amounts. If we write it like a destructured like version where we put member addresses and token amounts as constants and do one single map and return both,
Yep.
would that
It'd be a lot more
work, or
efficient.
would it break?
No, you could totally do that, and then you destructure it afterwards. I would do a reduce function, right, where you could map over everything. I just wanted to do like a simple version just for this, just because like I'm explaining it over the call.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, I would definitely. It's not really efficient, right, to do 2 maps per keystroke, but I agree with you.
So
Your math is wrong.
yeah, 3. So it's just tripling. It's like it's multiplying the share amount by whatever the
All right,
value
let's take
is
a
in
look
there.
here.
Over-
There's another issue that we're going to run into, and that's we need to actually get the weigh amounts, right, of each token.
Mhm.
And I think we'll save that one for next video, because that's a bit of work. But what we want to do is actually get the base units of the tokens, right? Right now we're just playing around with numbers, but
This is coming out to 1 every time. So
oh, okay, so it's not getting total shares.
right. So something maybe it's also a string. Did we?
Is it an underscore? Total shares?
No.
There you go. Yeah.
Looks better.
That looks more like JavaScript.
Yeah.
No, it doesn't. That's not what we want, though. Oh, it is actually. Yeah, 1, right?
Yeah, if I do 1,
There we go. That's a JavaScript I know and
Yeah,
love.
there's a-
Horrible decimal rounding.
right.
Yeah. Okay. So
Oh,
there's
wait.
2 things here. So we got that problem,
I put
right?
152. So this is closer.
Yeah,
But still,
definitely.
Yeah.
So we have options here. So the thing is that like the numbers that we send to this contract, it's not going to be like round whole numbers like this, right? They have to be sent in the base amounts. Do you know what I mean? Like when you send something to a contract, you're not sending you're sending like the way, not way is something that exists just on Ether, but it's like the base units.
Right. So if we multiply it by 10 to the 18th and then do the division, we might be able to just stay in whole numbers.
Yeah. It gets a little tricky doing math with those large numbers. So you can go the big int route if you want. Or we do have some token utilities in the app that we usually use.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, I think sometimes we just rough it. Now, I think just for this sake, we're going to go like really rough, we're going to cowboy it. We're going to go 2 base units, a function called 2 base units. I think it's, if I'm remembering the name correctly. So you know that we're going to wrap everything, the number, shares, number total, token amount, and that basically everything in that callback function and the map, the token amounts, down. Again, this is a real cowboy solution, but we're running low on time here. So token amounts. Sorry, in the map. You know how you have
this.
Yeah, so you're going to wrap everything in that statement. Nope, you're going to get in front of that bracket.
Okay. Wrapping it with what?
A function called 2 base units. I mean, let's go take a look at that too. Once you import it. Sorry, not 2 but like T0. Like we're converting it to base units. I think it's a capital B. Camel cased. Is that not what we're calling it? Do we have a units? What are we? Token amount, token value. So I'm just going to find that function. Calculate total USD, init token data, chain, tally US dollars, add contract values, total bank value, get readable balance, get contract balance, get contract balance. Get readable balance, and then decimal. And decimals, yes. So I don't know if you know this little quirk of Crypto Miracles, but all tokens have different decimal amounts. So you could be dealing with a number that is to the power of 18 or to the power of 6, like I think USDC is.
So they don't
you have to get the token. So when we're talking, we got to find out which token we're talking about, right? So we have to get the address from the token, pull that value in from the DAO context, find out the number of decimals, and then pass that in. Crazy, right?
Yeah, crazy.
Yeah. So today, we're going to assume it's 18.
Okay.
And I think what we'll do is we'll just pick up the rest of the tutorial, maybe async. Not async, but just, I don't know if we want to do it live or whatever, because we're getting in the weeds here.
Yeah. Well.
But you're seeing how it's sort of coming together.
Yeah.
I think in the final stage, I will show you a way to delete this use effect altogether, and then pass it in as this set value as that comes from React hook form.
Yeah. And
what it will do is actually, because we're spreading that to 2 values, that might not work. So we're just going to keep the use effect. But just because that is the steps we'll need to take. We'll need to get the token decimal value from the context based off of the token address that we've entered. So what do you think we would have to do to get that token address value?
To get the token address?
Yeah.
I mean, there's probably some function like this use DAO that would.
So yeah, to get the
It's-
decimal amounts, we're definitely going to have to do the use DAO
Mhm.
thing. But to get the token address that we're entering in the form,
Yeah, it's. I mean, it's another property in the form, so I don't
and
know.
how are we getting the current property in the form? In that input or in that form.
With this.
In that input. When we look back at the React component, how are we getting the current value, like the token amount?
The token amount. It's what they typed in.
Yeah, and where does that come from? Like in this component here, how are we grabbing that?
Yeah, I'm looking.
Just go right from the top. Don't just every line.
Is it?
There we go.
Okay.
Props.
DAO member, local form. So we watch. It's this.
Token amount. There
We're
you go.
watching it.
Yes. So, if you open up a browser, I got 10 more minutes here. So if you open up a browser and you go to React hook form, just Google that. If you ever have questions about how to use like our form utilities, you're gonna want to come here. Lovely. We're gonna go to API. Use form. So we're using watch right now, right?
Mm-hmm.
So just find watch there. So right now you can pass in a single string. And what that does is it returns a single value. But if we want more than one, then we're going to do an array of string.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So what we're going to do is we have to tell this input, hey, what input are we what value are we watching for? Right? So we're going to get that array. We're going to make that an array. So
just.
yeah. And then just to get things set up properly so it doesn't crash on us, we're going to go to the token amount and put that inside an array as well. And destructure it as an array.
Make this be an array.
Yeah, just destructure. You know how like we do object destructuring?
Like that?
No, that's spread.
Right, like this.
Yeah, but instead of doing an object destructure, we're going to do an array destructure, right? Because that's how the value's coming in. It's coming in as an array of values. We don't want the array shape. We want. Do you see what's going on there?
Yeah. I got
Okay.
it.
So now we want that other one too. What is the name of the token address is coming in?
The name of the token address.
Yeah, what input are we getting the token address from?
It's this other token select field.
Perfect. And what's its name?
Well, we didn't define it, but
That's okay.
I suppose
Yeah.
it's up here. Select
Token address.
Token
Perfect.
address.
So put token address in that array as the second index, or first index. Yeah.
And then destructure that too.
Yeah. Perfect, right?
Yeah.
So we got to get that into the use effect. So put that in your dependency array so that every single time token address updates, it reruns your use effect. Awesome. And let's see if we console log that out. Let's delete all of our other console logs because it's getting a little noisy. Perfect. And I'm going to show you a little trick. Do CLO. And tab. Now do token address.
Nice.
Perfect.
So
let's-
That's
What's
gonna
that?
save me like 4 hours over the course of my lifespan.
Oh, probably a lot more than that. What's that, Mad Max? I couldn't hear you there.
There are many cool tricks you're showing. I really love this.
Oh, okay, sweet.
What was that first one? RAFC or something?
Yeah, RAFCE gives you a default React export. Like, it just fills out your component for you and gives you a default export. If you want a named export, you just do RAFC.
I see.
Yeah.
Cool. And this one was CLO.
Yeah.
Closure. Okay, so
let's take a look at the.
look at it. Is this where we want to be?
Uh-oh, we're broke. Cannot access token address before initialization. So we obviously haven't. Token address needs to be a string, right? When you're passing it into watch, you're trying to pass in a variable that hasn't been initialized yet. See in the watch thing?
Mm-hmm.
Token address is the name that we're passing in is a string.
And it exists. Name exists.
It doesn't. We're just using a string reference here, which is kind of weak. But that's what we're doing because we have 5 minutes left.
What would we do instead?
What I would do is I would pass in I would make a slot in the field Lego that you could pass in your own value that you want. And it would watch for whatever that value is.
Okay.
And then I would also have it default to token address if there's no value there.
Mm-hmm. So then over here we would specify it somehow.
Yeah. And then that gets passed in as props, and then you're able to access it in the component. And watch is not iterable. Now that one I'm a little confused about. Because we did pass in the value correctly. Interesting. Watch